In this video, you're going to learn the different techniques required to change the angle, better positioning yourself to land more punches, evade more punches, and confuse your opponent. We're going to go from the easiest techniques right through to the hardest techniques, starting with the basic pivot. Now, the pivot shouldn't really be done in range. Like, obviously it can, there's no right or wrong, but it's better to get out of range before you pivot, because if I do pivot whilst I'm in range, I can still be caught from this side, or if I pivot this way, I can still be caught from this side. So instead, when we pivot, we're going to take 2 steps back first. So I'm going to take 2 steps back, 1, 2, and then I'm going to push off and take an angle, or I'm going to go the other way and take an angle that way. Okay, so we're getting out of range before we take that angle so we can't get caught. The next one is shifting left and right. So we can take an angle by pushing off, going to our lead side, or pushing off our lead foot and going to our rear side. So if we're going to our lead side, I'm going to push off the ball on my back foot like this, and I'm just going to sidestep this way here, sort of sliding or gliding along the ground, take an angle. From here, I can throw a punch at my opponent who's there, whereas they're facing that way, and I'm out the way of their shots. I could also go to the rear side, so I'm going to sort of draw a half circle with my back foot like this. As I'm transferring the weight forward, as I do that, I'm going to push off this front foot here and shift over this way. Okay, so from my stance, bring this front foot around, the back foot around, push off this front foot, and then shift to the side, bringing both feet more over this way. Then I'm facing my opponent to land my shots whilst they're facing that way. The next technique to get ourselves in a more advantageous position and take an angle is the slip, step, pivot. Right, so I'm going to step and slip at the same time with my front foot. So my front foot is going to go out to my lead side, and my head's going to follow it. So my head's going to be like over my front foot like this. And then from here, I'm going to push off the ball on my back foot and pivot round 90 degrees. Remember, I'll be on the ball on my front foot as well, because I need to pivot. I'm sort of like scraping my foot around as I do this, staying on balance, so I'm nice and stable once I get to here. So remember, timing the slip with the step, take my head off the center line, push off here, come around to here, and I'm on balance. I can also do this going the other way. So I can step across my stance there whilst I slip, taking my head off the center line again, and then pushing off with this back foot and coming around to here, again, where I'm nice and stable. So there. Or going the other way. That technique is called the phone stepper. You want to throw it under the leg and catch it. Right. The next way to take an angle is using the check pivot. Okay, so we talked about at the start of the video how if you just pivot whilst you're in range like this, it's easy to get caught from over the top of your shoulder. However, with the check pivot, you can still be in range and pivot, because you're going to shield yourself. I have to take the mic off for this one, but it's basically where you get into the Philly shell sort of position here, and you bring your shoulder nice and high, and you use your rear glove as like a bit of a block over the top of the head. And as you do this, you tilt your body back a little bit like that, so that your shoulder completely shields your head like this. From here, you can push off with your back foot and take an angle. So you can pivot, do that all at the same time there, and take an angle. You can also step with it as well. So you don't just have to keep your front foot planted, but you can step as you lean back like this. So you go there, taking the front foot further to the side. So then you can create a larger angle. And then from here, obviously you can throw your punches. It's all well and good knowing how to take these angles, but to actually see it come out in your boxing, you need to drill certain drills over and over again. These drills are all over my coaching program. I'll leave the link in the description, or go to hybridwarriorelite.com. This next way of taking an angle is a little bit more advanced, but it's called the step shift. Right, and all you do for that is you want to step and then shift your feet around, or you could do it going the other way, where you're going to take your back foot, step, and then from here, shift around like this. Okay, I'm going to break down how you do that. Go into your lead side. It's just like the slip step pivot, where you're taking your head off at an angle and stepping at the same time. But instead of just pivoting around from here, we're going to get to this position and then use our head as sort of like something to shift our body around. So it's like we're anchoring the position with our head like this. And I'm going to push off with my back foot and bring both my feet around. This front foot's going to go around at an angle like that, and the back foot's kind of going to replace where that front foot is. So step and slip here, push off, and come round here. Now I'm at an angle where I can start throwing some shots. This next one, going to the rear side, is a little bit more difficult because obviously you're going to end up in the opposite stance. So you take your back foot and you're going to step the same way you did when you slipped this way. You're going to slip going to the rear side. So you're kind of like twisting the opposite way to how your stance is. So as my back foot comes forward, it's just like a normal step forward there. I'm going to bring my head over my, well, it was a rear foot, and now my lead foot. Okay, so from here, I'm going to slip, and I'm on this side, and then I'm just doing the exact same thing where I'm bringing my right foot round and replacing it with my lead foot there. Now I'm nice and planted in the southpaw stance, ready to throw my punches, okay? So that's what it looks like. This last one I thought I'd just add on because it's kind of like a variation of the step pivot going to your rear side, but it's a little change in it. For this one, you want to imagine that both your feet are on either side of a miniature train track, and you want to switch them over. So your lead foot goes onto the right track and your rear foot goes onto the lead track like this at the same time. Then from here, you're automatically at that angle, ready to push off at an angle. So you can push off with your back foot and just pivot round. So switch them to here and then pivot around, all right? You can drop your head off the center line as you do this as well. So there, and yeah. All right, goodbye everybody. See you in the next video.
Hey, what? What are you telling man in that?